Toast. And that's the memo. AOC will officially become a congresswoman in just 2 weeks. Should she consider taking a vacation through 2020, perhaps? The panel is back. Guy Benson, Nan Hayworth, and Tim Carney. Tim, I don't know why. Sometimes she just gets the facts wrong, and that kind of drives me crazy. But, you know, this whole thing about politicizing self-care.
Sure. And I think in there are ways in which I kind of like her a lot more than you do, I think. Yeah. I mean, in some ways, she's the Tea Partier of the Democratic Party, where she's calling out the lobbyists who are coming in and talking to them, calling out her leadership for being inconsistent. But the social media stuff, the Twitter, these little self-indulgent videos, she isn't the Democrats' Tea Party. She's the Democrats' Donald Trump on Twitter. That's who she is. And she has no filter. She has no sense of modesty, of humility. She doesn't admit when she's wrong. So that she goes from being sort of this insurgent congresswoman to this Instagram star who happens to be in Congress. It's not becoming, I don't think.
Do you think she's going to find the job is tougher than she imagined when she first ran, having done this yourself as a congresswoman from New York?
Yes, and when I was blessed to be elected, I went right back out on the road, Kennedy, because, you know, in my generation, in the days of the giants, that's what you did. No breaks. But, you know, it's a very tough job. It's also a job that goes district by district, and one of the ways in which it's tough or less tough is if you're in a district like hers, her reelection is probably fairly assured. And under those circumstances, unless she does something egregious, you know, she's going to be amazed at the amount of self-indulgence she can probably pursue, especially since she is, yes, Tim, an attention hog. So the break I'd love to see her get is a break from all the public attention. I'd like to see Republicans and conservatives ignore her.
Yeah.
You know, talk about the issues.
That's not going to happen anytime soon.
But, you know, when she brings up something that's ridiculous, talk about the ridiculous thing, but don't talk about her.
I'm going to go a little counterintuitive here. I think that whether it's unbecoming or not, Instagram stories and this type of personal connection with an electorate is the wave of the future. I think this is what a lot of candidates of her generation and in the future are going to engage in. She's fine-tuning it still. I actually have no problem with her taking a week off to get some R&R.
I don't have a problem with that at all, but stop talking about it like it's a political issue.
That's what I was going to say. Like, great. Running for Congress, campaigning is hard. It's exhausting. It's Christmas. Merry Christmas, AOC, Congresswoman-elect. Have a great one. The fact that she was talking about how self-care is a political act for the poor and immigrant communities or something.
That doesn't even make sense.
It made absolutely no sense. I don't even know what she's talking about.
And she's obsessed with face masks. As though face masks are a part of self-care. But I will tell her, as a working mom, you have to find ways to care for yourself in order to maintain sanity as you care for other people. And it's implicit in the job, and no one wants to hear everyone running around talking about how busy and tired they are.
And it's not
it is incumbent upon you to find ways in your own life where you carve things out and you find peace. And part of that, as Tim points out, is humility and maybe not talking about yourself.
And frankly, getting off of Twitter. Like, my self-care often is not being on Twitter as much. And that this is part of the thing that she is doing, I agree, a service of saying, hey, here's what goes on in congressional orientation. Hey, they have these briefings for us, and it's former senator, but it's really a lobbyist. Some of these things are really good. But Twitter is a toxic place, and every time she gets trolled, she then fights back. This is not the way to do it. We've all grown out of wrestling with the trolls.
And the fact that it's so hyper-politicized, none of that should be a surprise to her. And if she is going to take on this responsibility, then she needs to rise above it. But she's too immature to do that now. Now, meantime, fellow socialist Bernie Sanders is apparently the most popular leftist in the nation. Sorry, AOC. He gets more than 1%, even though he's 3 times older than Alexandria. The first straw poll by the Progressive Political Action Committee, Democracy for America, shows Bernie in a big lead with 36%. Biden second at 15%, followed by Beto O'Rourke at 12%. Liz Warren, who won the same poll 4 years ago, she's dropped to 4th. She's dropping fast like a brick in a bucket of oil.
She's only going to argue that's biased against
So will Democrats ever get some new blood to lead their party? And if so, will Nancy Pelosi drink it all? Man?
Well, that's entirely possible. What this shows us, of course, is that progressives are, Bernie Sanders promised the big state, right? And they're all going to be pushing now, lurching left, Medicare for all, more.
Why does Bernie Sanders still have so much magic?
Well,
sway over that part of the
Kennedy,
party?
look, he had,
which has grown.
Right, no question. He had a lot of magic in the 2016 Democratic primary.
Well, so did Elizabeth Warren,
but
she has dropped. Why has he maintained and grown?
She stands for sort of some politics and some policies. He stood for something bigger. I would go and I talked to his meeting, and it wasn't just a socialist stuff or the populist stuff. People felt empowered by him. People who felt, especially millennials, but even boomers who felt like they didn't have a say in politics anymore. He came and he seemed to give them power. That was the sense, and I think that's one of the most underappreciated parts of Bernie.
And it may be populism, but he is the socialist silverback. Like there's a way, like if politics is tribalism now, they look to him as the guy who's leading the tribe.
Yeah, and has been for a while. He was a voice in the wilderness in the party for a while, and now it's there's a critical mass
literally on a birthing
him.
commune. Yeah, Bernie.
I would just say that the results of the poll that we just put on the screen are interesting because Bernie was actually on Brett Bayer's show on Special Report last week or this week, just the last few days, and Brett asked him if he was going to run for president. His answer was, if I believe that the grassroots are behind me and want me, then the answer will be yes.
Oh, he's
at least
so coy.
For now, the answer would be yes. And there was reporting this week that he and Warren met behind closed doors, and the mutual understanding seemed to be that they were both leaning heavily towards going for it.
Liz, no one believes